Welcome to Module 4 of the Transition to School for Budget-Based Funded Services, brought to you by Contact Rural Connect and Children's Services Central. In Module 4, we'll be talking about how to support families within your service, specifically in regards to the child's transition into school. Don't forget, families are also transitioning into school. And if you've been a parent, you can understand that sometimes this can be a time of stress and a lot of concern and worry for some parents and carers. Our aim today is to begin to discuss families' expectations in regards to children, you and the school, and about what is important to ensure that their child is actually school ready. What do you think the parent or carer focus is for their child for being school ready and transitioning to school? Brainstorm the following points. For you as the early childhood educator, what are the parents' expectations of the program for their child to be school ready? What do you think parents' expectations are for their child going to big school? And what do they think big school expectations are? What differences have the parent identified for themselves and for their child when they begin big school? Again, consider the following different types of school environments, whether that's homeschooling, school of the air, boarding school, or normal transitioning to school environments. This is an important fact to consider for children going into diverse environments. Understanding the parent expectations allows you to communicate this to the school, so the school has a better understanding of the child and the family that's about to begin school. Next, consider how you begin to engage with the parents and carers about their child's transition. Is it something that the parent has raised? Or is this something that you formally do in regards to the last 6 months or last 8 weeks of term? What kind of conversations would you begin to have with parents and carers about their child's transition? Do you note things down? Do you document conversations? Do you sometimes organise formal or informal meetings to discuss the parents' concerns or expectations in regards to their child beginning school? We also need to think about inclusion. We need to talk about the different types of inclusion that services may need to consider for families. What current types of inclusion do you now also consider or implement for children already existing at your service? Sometimes these supports need to be carried through also into big school. Schools also need to be aware of the types of support that parents are already accessing in regards to their child's inclusion needs. Let's consider the following. At-risk families, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander families, called families, which are culturally and linguistically diverse families, or children with a disability or a diagnosis. For some of you, you may already have children who are already at risk, or families that have already engaged in some of your inclusion processes. Is this also documented? How can this be communicated to the school? How do we alert families to the fact that this may be very important information for the school to have and for you to share with the school? So what are families at risk? So they may be families on a low socioeconomic income, supporting children with a disability, experiencing chronic poverty or unemployment, or periods of poverty or unemployment. They may have experienced violence or trauma. They may be experiencing severe isolation, whether that's geographic, social, or cultural. Their children may be exhibiting behavioural difficulties. There may be issues related to drug and alcohol use. And there may be family members who have experienced mental health, dependency issues, or incarceration. If you've been supporting families through these different transitions and through these different experiences, you may need to articulate or communicate how you have been supporting the family. This is important for not just the child, but also to the family who are transitioning into a new environment with new relationships and new expectations. Think deeply about the types of inclusions that you currently implement in your service. Once again, hang some butcher's paper up in the room. Write down some of these facts in regards to what families do you define to be at risk within your service, and what are your current supports that you access for families and children right now? Are these types of supports available to children when they're transitioning to school? And do we need to make the school aware of these types of supports that you already have in place? Think about the different strategies that you may have been using to support different families who may have been at risk. What types of support do you currently offer? Who have you consulted with? Who else exists within the community and the school community to continue to support the child and the family? Do you offer transport, fee relief, support with enrolment procedures, referrals to other agencies or service supports? As you're already supporting some of these issues with parents and families, it's important that you note these down. These may be specifically unique to your service delivery and may not exist within the school community. If the child is staying at home with a governess or they're doing distance education, how can those supports be maintained by the parent, carer, governess? Articulating these types of supports and identifying the supports that you have accessed are important for the child and the family to continue forwards with their learning journeys. Remember, the key ingredient is to make schools ready for the child and the family that is about to join that community. Let's think about the school's transition statement. This can be a very useful tool to have a conversation with families or parents or carers in regards to what their expectations are of the school and their expectations of the child when they start school. You're an intrinsic part of this school's transition statement because you already have a pre-existing relationship with the parent or carer and they already trust you to have that conversation. So let's have a look at it. The parent or carer can choose to complete this section on their own, or you may choose to sit with the parent or carer and assist them in filling this out. It asks good questions. What are your goals, hopes for your child at school? What should your child's primary teacher know about him or her? How could the school best support your child's learning? Is your child attending another service or specialist program relating to their learning or development? Do you feel you have enough information about your child's intended primary school? Is there anything else that you would like the primary school teacher to know about your child? Now, these are quite prescribed questions. You could choose to add your own types of questions. What types of questions would you like to add? What would you like to include? What would you like to know from the family so, as a service, you can support them and their child during transition? Once again, you may pause this presentation and write up some of those additional questions on your butcher's paper. Also consider the different ways you may discuss and engage with parents and carers. Are these formal meetings? Informal conversations? How do we document these if we don't use the school's transition statement? Once again, the statement is a useful tool to focus the conversation. It doesn't have to be as prescribed as this, but it can certainly lead you and guide you when you're having conversations with the parent or carer or families. This will be available for uploading on the Contact Incorporated website. Let's consider some other strategies to support the family. You may construct your own tip sheet with important information for families to know before their child starts school. Could you introduce families to key people within the school community to families? These could be the Aboriginal Education Officer, a school counsellor, the office ladies, the canteen ladies, if they're transitioning into a formal school environment. But who are the other key people in different schooling environments that you may need to consider? What assistance will be required with enrolment forms and other inclusion support that the school may be offering? Do we need to find out about any financial support the school may offer, whether that's in regards to school uniforms, books, or fee relief? Is there transport available? Is there the local bus? Is there a rural bus run? And are there existing organisations within the school that can support the parent, specifically if they also have inclusion needs? So think of schools as community centres, Anglicares, or other family referral services that may be in the area and that are directly linked to the school to best support the child and the parent. You may choose to pause this presentation and once again identify others within the community that can be of assistance for children. Who do you currently are aware of or currently access that you are aware the school also accesses to best support the child? It's these ease of transition from one relationship to another and consistency of relationships which will support the best outcomes for children and for families. Let's think about another useful tool that could be of assistance for yourselves as educators to have the conversation with the families. These are called storyboards and transition books. And these are a great way for children and families to become familiar with school environments and routines. These can also be contextualised to the individual child's experience and types of transition. You might choose to take photographs of the school environment, a photograph of the kindergarten teacher, the school principal. There may be other things that you would like to put into the storyboard or transition book. It might be in regards to how do I get to school? How do I get home from school? What does my school bag look like? What does my lunchbox look like? Will I be wearing a school uniform? Will I be at home? What will it look like to have learning occur at home? An example of the storyboards and transition books will also be available for upload in relation to this particular module, Module 4, on the Contact website. Please visit us at www.contactinc.org.au to upload this particular module, Webinar 4, Supporting Families, as well as being able to upload the Transition to School Statement and the storyboard and transition books as well. Contact also offers face-to-face sessions in regards to the Transition to Schools program. If you would like more information in regards to this, please contact us on 02 9212 5588 for further information. Please also visit the website for Module 5. This is the final module in the Schools Transition program that we offer. But please bear in mind, if you'd like to have a face-to-face session with one of the educators or one of our trainers, please get in contact with us.